What is up, guys? Lord Nick here, bringing you another One Piece related video. This video, guys, we're going over Rebecca. Specifically, we're going over the build that showed up in the video from Japan. There's a creator over there that has been playing Rebecca a while, and he played it in OP09 versus Shanks, and showcased how masterfully you can pilot this list into defeating something like Shanks. Now, that being noted, I have tested this technically on camera, but now off camera, about four games roughly in total. And I'm including 3 games from not technically this list, but a very similar list, because I was testing out some of these cards. But my opinion on this list, it's pretty solid. I like how it pilots. I like how it plays. I personally think, though, that it has a lot of big what ifs. So let's kind of get into it. Let's break it down, kind of consider where we're at, what we're doing, stuff like that. So what is the core and crux of the list? For those that haven't watched the video posts this list at the very beginning of it. Slightly different format. I put it into English so that we can read the cards, because these are all cards that we currently have access to. So arguably this list should be solid relative, right? Well, we're going into a meta that does actually have a very greedy top-end meta. So having options like Stussy, options like Red Rock to be able to deal with that top end is pretty nice. Now, the rest of this is core functionally a Dressrosa list that is built around the concept of Orlumbus enabling us to kill 5 drops on repeat. Whereas we also have Tempest Kick to give another -3 so that we up it to 9 drops and under. That seems pretty solid, or 8 drops and under, which seems pretty solid. That seems like it covers all of our bases. For the things that are not 8 drops and under, then guess what? We use Stussy, we use Red Rocks, or everything that is, 9 drops and under, we can use Aramaki. So where is my issue with this list? Where do I fall into disliking this list, if I dislike this list, from playing it with one game, one small sample size, but into a meta game? I tested it into the OP08 meta game. I tested it into pudding. Mind you, on my current list, I have yet to lose to a pudding. Good players, bad players, doesn't matter. I've played into both. I have done nothing but win into puddings with Rebecca in my current list, and a big part of that is that Kuzan 10 drop is a very big problem for them. He's a very high-end, difficult card for them to deal with. Whereas something like this deck doesn't really pose that type of threat. You need to be playing certain things on curve. You need to be sacking certain turns. And if things go right for the pudding, you don't have a real good option out of it because you haven't been able to set up Tempest Kick fast enough. And so my issue with this list is it really relies on the ability to just be okay of going late and just countering out of attacks. Now, if your opponent is able to cheese out some big bodies, like in the case of a ramp deck like Pudding, that's not going to work very well. So if we're going to see decks that go that route, or if they go super wide, like a deck like Dofi, you're going to run into issues of how do I counter out of this, right? We have 10 2K counters, which is great to a degree. And then we have a lot of things that need Orlumbus on board. So the fact that we're putting all our eggs on the Orlumbus basket does not bode very well with me. I've found that to be problematic. And then the backup for it is Tempest Kick, which I don't think answers enough of the problems due to the fact that it requires there to be 10 cards in trash, which, yes, if you're using Orlumbus on curve and readily, yeah, that's pretty easy to do, constantly get there. But this is a list that is built for a slower meta. He is not anticipating, based off of how this list is built, he is not anticipating his opponents dropping these big bombs early. He's not anticipating his opponents doing something that is relatively aggressive where he needs to be able to answer it. And he's not anticipating his opponents having that type of spot removal in the same vein of like, oh, okay, we need to start setting this up, right? The way he piloted it in the video was getting an Orlumbus early, knowing that his opponent had no real option the very following turn to kill it. And then the turn where they might be able to kill it, maybe they don't. He just plays a Sabo so that he can mill another 2 cards, and then Orlumbus abilities on something that he's not going to remove with, and does it again. So he's just trying to fill up his trash as fast as possible, which is perfectly fine. It's a perfectly good strat. I've done it in the past. I like how that plays. Sometimes. And if that is the route that you wish to play, all power to you. Go ahead and play that route. For me, the consistency, the power, and the lockdown ability that the Kuzumaki combo has, I think is more beneficial than trying to go into the Stussies or the Red Rocks. On top of that, we're looking at just about as many cards in my list that are not searchable. The biggest problem here is these ones are only and exclusively top end and your reduction and part of your reduction source, and it's not a recurrable part of your reduction source. So like in the case of Tempest Kick, the biggest reason that I moved over to Patchwork was the fact that I wanted to be able to find it. I wanted to have a reliable -3. The important part of Tempest Kick is it's a -3. Yes, it can draw you a new card. That's fine. It being a cycle card, a card that you could just toss into your trash early to get stuff going. Cool. Strategy is mill himself out to get to his second rotation as fast as possible, which is a good strategy to a degree if it is a slower meta. We are not in a slower meta. It's just not how it is. There's nothing that is stopping Pudding from going fast. There's nothing that is stopping Dofi from going fast. There's nothing stopping Katakuri from being just current tempo bomb after bomb. If that is the case, if we are looking at a meta that we are going to be playing in that is not slow, not tempo or not tempo oriented, not control oriented, this is not a good list for that type of meta. This is great for the Shanks, the Blackbeards, the stuff that we need to be able to answer, and we have time to answer it for the most part. All right, so let's break down the two interesting tech choices. I think these are the two most interesting tech choices that he made, because what this tells me is that there's a meta read that is unlike the meta we're in currently, right? That is what I'm arguing here. That is the whole point that I'm arguing this list wouldn't work in our current meta, is that this three cards that I'm reading into reads that he needs something to deal with top-end cards. But not many of them. He doesn't need to elect for that many of them. He just wants it as a tool tech for 3 of them, really. Whereas these will just instantly get rid of that problem, which is telling me that he thinks he'll have tempo until somebody does that, and then he just needs to answer that problem. So in the case of the Shanks matchup, the 10-drop Shanks that does a -1 to your board, yeah, this just answers that problem. Immediately answers that problem, and then if you have any board state, you just swing in and win, which tells me that he thinks it's not going to be as interactive, and then these cards here are just going to end the thing that is a problem, so that the stuff that is on his board just wins him the game. Arguably a solid strat, arguably something that's very good if we're in a slower metagame. Thus, this is what's pointing me to that. So what does this video tell me? In big parts, it's telling me the meta read for OP09 by this person. Decks are building taller. What I mean by that is that they're going to have a lot more mid-game cards. There's not as much early aggression. There's not a lot of like on-stat 3 drops that are just going to be punching you in the face, or 4 drops maybe even that punch you in the face for 6. Instead, they're building a lot of 5s, a lot of 6s, and up, right? Like, so we're building taller, not wider. On top of that, the game is just slower. He has 10 2Ks, which is, arguably, okay, so it's maybe not that slow. But, I mean, you're running 10 2Ks in Rebecca just to have the Orlumbus package. Unless you're me, and then you don't run the Yats, because reasons. Anyhow, his build is very similar in a lot of ways to some of the builds that I've run, a lot of things that I've done. I think that he is trying to do I think there's a little bit of trepidation on my side because of this, because of just the fact that it feels to me like he's trying to be able to answer all board problems as best as possible, which is fine, but it does mean that you're super over-reliant on Orlumbus as your main reducer, and as your basically only reducer. Because Tempest Kick does require a lot of cards in your trash, and if you're self-milling yourself, yeah, this card's always online, but the ability to get this card into your hand at the right time isn't necessarily a skill thing. It's kind of a luck thing. Or, I mean, in the cases of being able to play Sabo and getting it, cool, that's great. But if you're utilizing the Rebecca Searchers, if you're utilizing the Rebecca Leader, if you're utilizing the Orlumbuses, your chances of getting this in your first rotation hands is not very good. So the argument is that you need them in your second rotation hands, which is when you start putting cards back with your Luffy. And if you see how if you watch how he plays the video, he plays it very, very much like, okay, we just defend for our first rotation until I really am forced to play a Luffy, and then I'll play the Luffy. But I have enough defense that he can't get through me type of argument. I think that's fine. But But for anybody that also argues that my decks have too many bricks in them, please take a look at this list. He has 3, 5, 8, 9, what is that? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. He has 18 bricks. Oh, sorry, I forgot the Kuroses. 22 bricks. 22 bricks in this deck. That is the same number that I generally run. I try to get it somewhere between 15 to 22. That's the range. I prefer towards the 15 if I can, but arguably right now 22 is fine. So he's running the same number of bricks as me. He's running the same number of 2Ks as me. The biggest difference is just the read on his meta versus the read on my meta. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's try to play at least a game of this list, the Japanese list, in this meta, and showcase to you guys some of the things I might mean by it, how we're going to play it. Let's take Bonney, I guess. This arguably is always a decent matchup for us, so this shouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, this is going to showcase the weaknesses of this deck. It's more or less just going to showcase the deck to a degree. Now, I will note, I did get some... like this, I got some particularly egregious earlier... Why do you hate me? No, we're not gonna leak your ability. We're just gonna play this. We're gonna make the mistake. We're just gonna play this, right? Because this is a self-mill deck, and I'm just gonna play the Coliseum because this is the opportunity I see of playing it. Because why else not? All right, we're gonna draw. We're gonna take the Searcher. We're gonna deploy the Searcher. We're gonna take this. We lost both Aramakis because the sim hates me. We're gonna cycle just because I want to get more cards. That was a good cycle. Hey guys, hey, that was a really good cycle. To be perfectly honest, because now we have Orlumbus Leo combo. That's pretty hype. Not gonna lie. That cycle turned out real good for us. All right, he's got that. We don't have any ways of drawing an additional card. I don't really have a way of seeing this going too terrible. Let's do this. We're just gonna remove this early. Pass turn. 9 cards in trash. We have tempoed into it. We have a Kyros option there as well, so we can Orlumbus, get rid of the Leo, get rid of anything that he plays. We don't have to necessarily right now, because we just kind of want to. Oh no, we just swing Leo into that first. That's what we do. Well, he's gonna rest. His argument. There's an argument to be made there of do we swing the Leo and let him rest our Orlumbus. We don't have enough 2Ks, and I'm not throwing away Rebecca's right now. All right, that's another one of you. Okay, we do have an Orlumbus again, so yeah, we are going to swing the 5 or swing the 2 into the 1. If we get a 2K, we get a 2K. Hey, we get a 2K. All right. We're then going to deploy the Rebecca, grab us a Kyros. We're going to pop that anyways, because screw it. We're going to take a 2K. Probably should have taken the Sabo, but I want some 2K power here. We're at 7. We could just play a Scarlet. We're going to just deploy her, just to be hand efficient. I mean, it is an extra 1K counter in hand, but... Oh, he's resting my shit. What's he swinging into? Who you kill? Who you gonna kill? Swing into the Kyros. Do it. Swing 8 into the Kyros, please. Is he gonna kill a Scarlet? He's gonna kill the Orlumbus. I think he's gonna go for the Orlumbus. That would be the smart play here. What do we have in trash? No KO options here. Yeah, you can have them. We have another one, so we're okay with this. That kind of screws things up a little bit. Yeah, you get her. All right, so we deploy him. Probably should have swung first. Oh, well. Oh, there was another one in trash. Damn it. I should have paid attention to the fact that we just milled one. Oh, well. It's fine. We had that in game plan in all along. Ooh, just realized also that I don't have the Dawn to play them because I'm 1 Dawn off. And, you know, it really helps, guys, to really think out your plays before you do them. We're kind of learning this now. We'll take an Orlumbus. This is a crummy turn. We'll play another Orlumbus, and we'll pass turn. well, we fucked up a lot that turn. Well, that's a big misplay by me. Okay, rebuild your board. That's fine by me, buddy. Do we Stussy to kill the Hody? That's the question here. My god. Thank you for making that counter more efficient for me. I'm not gonna block. Oh, we got another Rebecca though. Okay. Alright. Alrighty. Five there. What are you resting? You're resting one of the Rebeccas? You're resting the other Orlumbus? Resting the Orlumbus. Okay. That's funny. That's a good hit. We're not going to use that hit immediately. Because we're going to grab, deploy over one of you to KO that. We're going to end turn. We have 3 blockers now. And we now have the option of cards. Alright, we're at 10 cards. We need to be cautious of that. We have a Luffy. We have a Stussy. The Rebecca wall. Okay. Okay. You've done more damage to yourself than I have this game. You're getting rid of 2 Rebeccas. Counter out of that. Aha! Get fucked. He can swing both Hodies into Orlumbus if he wants. Sure, you got an Orlumbus. Stussy, baby. She answered the call. I mean, we're not in an ideal spot. We're not in a terrible spot though. We're not like, oh no, it's doomed. He has a massive hand, which is annoying, but he's already taken 2 life from himself technically. He's already played 2 out of potentially 3 Hodies, I'd imagine. Yeah, you could have this. All right, so give him a 2K. Back 9. Need 2 2Ks to keep him alive, bud. We don't need to go for face right now. We'll leave the Kyros up. We don't need to go for it. Oh. Okay. Stussy lives. I don't know what that play was. let me just raw see if you have a 1 gain end. Yeah, I'm down to 3 cards and all. Oh yeah, I forgot to move this, huh? So you guys can't even see how many cards he has. My bad. Oh no, he kills my blocker. Sure, you could have her. Okay. Then we do let's say this is 11, this would be 13 is what we need, so we need 6 Dawn on this motherfucker to kill this for sure. Say this is a 1K. What's your out here, bud? I'm curious what his out is with this current setup. He needs to kill the Luffy off because this just represents death next turn. That's 9 into Luffy, right? That's 10 into Luffy, right? Dude, he's dead set on killing this Stussy. All right, you can have her. He locked the Luffy. Thank you. Appreciate the attack. Activate lead. 2K. We can -4. -3. We can KO it. We can KO this, which I think is much better of a KO. Eight. All right, that's 2 carrots gone now, too. How much are you putting on this to kill the Luffy, though? That's the question. That's the big question. Okay. We'll tap leader. You got one of them. Yeah, that doesn't do enough, bud. Okay. I mean, into Bonney, it's still good. But, like, I also felt like we were just good into Bonney anyways. Like, it just didn't really matter too much that he's... Okay, whatever, bud. That is a gecko. That is pretty solid right now. So we do this. -4. Or we just do this. Because I'm stupid and overthinking things, overcomplicating things. Make sure this dies. Deploy. Grab a 2K? Yeah, we just grab you. You draw a 3rd Dofi. Bro, I got a Rebecca. What is the game plan here? We try to bait out a... Rest the Luffy, dude. You rested the wrong guy. I guess, yeah, that denies an attack, but... Okay. Attack 7, then. Deploy a gecko. Get a Rebecca in place of this guy. Cancel Rebecca, get back a 2K. No deploy. Draw. Pick another Luffy. What are you gonna do here? What are you doing to this scenario here? You could, 3rd Hody, I guess, maybe? Okay, you're locking them boys down. Does absolutely nothing for you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, you're in stall mode. Oh, he would have gotten an Electric Luna. He could have kept them locked again. But I could just also just restand them and wait to go. But, yeah. I mean, listed well into Bonney, guys. So that's... Hey, it beats Shanks, it beats Bonney. It did not do well into Pudding. My first loss to a Pudding was playing this list. We're at 30 minutes already. I'm not going to do another matchup just because we're already at 30 minutes on the video, guys. But if you want more videos of me breaking down lists, me kind of going over what I think are the strong suits of certain lists or maybe the weaknesses of those lists, if you want me to just pilot and play other lists, feel free to leave that down in the comments. We're probably going to have a section coming up soon that I'm going to try maybe to just do playing y'all's lists. and just kind of giving it a test, giving it a go. So you'll always submit lists and then I'll pilot it type of thing. But until next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, leave a comment, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys.